Well, it's Friday, May 26th, 2023. It's a beautiful day outside, it turned out, but I've slept through most of the morning and a good bit of the afternoon, having been at work earlier today. And I slept pretty well, for the most part, undisturbed, and then eventually just woke up naturally, and I thought it was later than what it was. But did a little bit of tidying up around the apartment, and I don't know. Then I started thinking about recording something because I guess I've just gotten in the habit, and I like the habit. Um, but I also like uh, feeling like I can talk as long as I want without being restricted and confined to less than a minute. So, anyway, still, it's up for debate about that, how I'm going about it. But so far, I'm okay. And I did notice, um, as far as like the channel layout, that I could record an introductory trailer video um, as just a welcome or something, and more than just an about page where people could read an introduction. As how many people ever go to the about page of other people's channels? I do, but so I recorded a trailer, and it took me, it didn't take me very long to record it, but it was about, a minute and 45 seconds long because I was trying to keep it short. And but I said what I meant to say, and there were a few outside distractions and interruptions while I was recording, including a neighbor's dog out there barking. And anyway, so I put that video up, and it was in place for less than a day. But I didn't like it because it was right in your face when you went to the page, and it auto played. It's like as soon as you went to the page, it would just play, and it's like, whoa. It's like, well, I didn't like that at all. So if I didn't like it, then it's like, well, I doubt anybody else would. They'd probably find it intrusive and invasive. At least that's how I take it. So, and I also looked at some other pages of other channels of people that I follow, and they didn't have trailers. So I thought, I'll just follow their, what they've been doing, um, and yeah. So I recorded a trailer, but now it's not there. So I still have it, but and I might put it up as like something later. I don't know. The trailer that failed to pass my own personal standard or whatever. And also, the thing about the trailer was it's there to support and promote and ask for subscribers. It's an introduction to let people know what your channel's about, and then subscribe. And I'm not so much about that. More so, I was trying to just answer some basic questions, so I didn't, so people weren't caught off guard. And so anyway, it didn't work out, so I took it down. And other than that, let's see. My total for running so far since I started recording on April 2nd of 2022 is up to 1,286 miles in total. And I think I'm just going to keep a cumulative count of that total and just have it segmented by when I completed 1,000 miles. So it's like the first 1,000 I completed on January 24th of 2023. And I don't know when I'll complete the second 1,000, but I'll just, kind of just mark like when I completed them, and then the count will just keep going. And I don't know if that's the, and I can reevaluate and, I can look at the numbers any way I want to later. And right now I'm just living, living and doing the running, and it's like I can sort it out and how I want to, you know, I guess it all comes into the domain of satisfying my own ego and, kind of taking some measure of pride in a greater accomplishment or achievement than an individual run might provide, looking at it across the grand scheme. And because I don't really have much to look at as far as achievements go in my life or accomplishments, because I haven't done much. I've lived through a lot, and I've been to a few places, and I've done a lot of things, but I haven't accomplished much as far as like what conventional society values. I haven't, contributed or been of great note or import or significance or consequence to civilization or society that I am, noteworthy of any kind. And I don't have the same pathway or scripted life set before me, like where it's like, well, you go to school, you get a diploma, and then you find the girl, and then you get married, have children, raise them, and then have a family and live a contented, satisfied, happy life, and then die at some point of old age, or I don't know. Life didn't go that way for me. I did, it's like I went to university, and I got a degree, and then life, I didn't have much direction after that. It's like, well, I got jobs, and I wasn't really, it's like, life just didn't take off, and it took off in different directions, but not your standard. And what was of significance and importance to most people, just, I don't know, it just didn't work for me. Or at least not in the same way, I guess, or I don't know. I still haven't figured it out. But a lot of it's like, yeah, I guess it doesn't matter as much these days. And it's like, I'm not too bothered, or was ever bothered about children. It's like, a lot of people, it's like, I have to have children to carry on my, it's like, no, I'm okay. It's like, I probably would have been okay if I ever had children. I would have adapted and adopted that role, and but it just didn't happen. And I was not about to make it happen. It just doesn't seem right. Um, so, and it wasn't like something I actively had to make a choice about or decide about. It just was never presented. It just never seemed to, you know, be a situation I ever had to face. I had other priorities for a long time that took away all my attention and energy and gave me an excuse not to have to worry about it. Since being an alcoholic is a full-time occupation, it's less appreciated than what most people might think. But it was a wonderful way to not have to deal with the human race or the complications, as far as I'm considered, the complications that arise. My alcoholic inebriation for the many years, in a way, kept me safe, removed from society, where I was mostly harming myself, but I was also definitely an example of what not to do and how not to be. I was just a living recluse in society, trying not to get noticed, trying not to be seen or not to be talked to, as I could feel people noticing, and in being in a, I think I gathered more pity than anything, or or for some maybe a sense of, yeah, and but no one could help me. I could only help myself, and I wasn't ready yet. But anyway, I did have some other things I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, I really need to make a list and keep track. But I always figure there's the next video. But what I was thinking about was how, what do I understand? What do other people think that I understand? What do other people assume that I understand? But I don't. I am given credit for an understanding of lots of situations, social and societal, that I do not actually follow. It's like I do not challenge convention. I'm just not exactly aware of what the convention is, why it exists, how it came to be, and why I should follow it, as though it is the gospel or something, scripture. Whereas to do other is to defy and go against. And so it's just I just don't agree, like why things are a lot of things. It's like, or people place so much emphasis on certain aspects of life and etiquette, and it's like, why do we do these things? It's like, and it's mostly because of my own discomfort. It's like I don't personally like them, so it's like I of course am going to look for reasons, like why should I, it's like, just because other people like to do things, as far as like ways of being, doesn't mean that I need to feel like I am a person, that I am just as valuable or just as worth being here. I don't need to feel like I should have to be or should be more invisible so I don't bother the normal people. It's like I have a voice, and it's like my opinion is just as valid as anyone else. And even though sometimes it feels like I am so easily overlooked and dismissed because of being the way that I am, as though I say something and it matters less. But then somebody else who is considered to be normal, and they say that about the same thing, and it's like, oh wow, that's really, wow, yeah, this guy, he knows what he's talking about. But when I say it, it just doesn't have the same effect, or people don't take it seriously. People don't take me seriously. So it's just something that's like, it's nothing new. It just hurts more than, I guess maybe it used to, just because I notice it more. But it's only because I've given some people around me that permission or ability to have that effect on me, where it's like some people I would have hoped to have earned some of their respect. That the things that I do and the way that I do them, it might not be for them, but it works for me. And it might work for more people too. But they tend to think that their way might be the, I don't know. A lot of it comes down to a competition. And people are constantly, it feels like, competing for being right. And it's like they don't really care if it actually is right. so long as other people think that it's right and they are held in a certain regard and status, uh, regardless of the truth. And I don't know what the truth is about a lot of things, but I do have my observations and opinions about things that come across my, horizon. But I usually am fairly, you know, grounded enough that to just kind of have to know that whatever it is that I think is subject to review and is not the end all be all, um, to know about it. There's so many more angles to look at. And a lot of what I think or feel about it is, based on my own personal history, um, observations, prejudice, and bias. And I tend to look for things that confirm what I already believe, and am less likely to, new information that goes against what I believe. It's like I'm less likely to believe that. But it requires more leaps of faith, or leaps of belief, or leaps of doubt. Or I have to disbelieve my own doubts and try to believe something different. Something that challenges my own quos. So, anyway. But what do I know? Less than what I might be given credit for. There are a lot of social situations where I think people think that I know something, and or have an understanding, and then things happen, or they don't happen, and I think that the other person uh, is confused by what, and it's like, and most of the time I'm just waiting for additional input or instructions. It's like, yeah, I have no idea. Unless specifically told, a lot of times I'm just like, well, there's nothing going on. And I'm just completely oblivious. And the other person might be totally frustrated. It's like, how do I not understand? Well, you see, there's the thing about that. And it's like I'm not clueless on purpose. It's not designed to be, it's not deliberate, to where I am, trying to frustrate people. It's just, I really don't want to make assumptions or presumptions and then get, uh, told like my entire interpretation of reality is wrong, and how did I come up with that? And it just makes me feel like I am just so out of touch and detached with the real world versus my world, that I have no real connection um, with what's going on for everybody else, where it's just a reminder of being different, a reminder of being alone. And that, I'm just getting more and more, what's the word? Distant and irrelevant. And I'm trying to think of the other word. Where a person is unrelatable. Unrelatable. It's like the more time I just live the way that I do, and it's like I don't have much in common with many people. I don't have much to talk about. And I don't follow trends, and I don't follow the news very much. And I just contribute and do things basically on my own, in my own way, in my own time, at my own pace. And it works. But it does get lonely. But then it's like I don't know what to do about it. So I end up just talking to myself. And then just, I work enough and I do enough other things that I don't really get preoccupied or bothered by it too much. And then time goes by. And I have hobbies. But not much happens. Not much changes. Unless I do something. And I make decisions to change my circumstance. And it might just be to, it might be simple or it might be complicated. It might be expensive or it might be cheap. And it might require little to no effort, or it might require a great monumental effort. It remains to be seen. But right now, it's like I'm not being asked. I'm not being confronted. So it's like I'm just being let to do whatever I want to do. And nothing is really forcing me to reevaluate. So, later from now, I will think back on this time as like before I knew, and be like, and I tend to think that it's like I don't know what I'll know later. So it's like now it's like I have the gift of not knowing. And if I was aware of what was coming up, what would I think? But I don't know. I don't know what I don't know yet. So it's like, now is the time for me to just keep doing what I'm doing and just be kind of glad and appreciative of the circumstance and just be okay. And life tends to happen whether I want to or not. So it's like being ready and prepared for when life happens. Because life is happening all the time. And it's just whether or not I'm paying attention and participating in my own life. And doing whatever it is I do to help out other people that are also struggling with their own set of circumstances. There's that dog barking. So I might cut this short. But now I've gotten distracted. See, now this is high quality video right here. No. Again, this is just from my own personal record of situations as they happened. Oh yeah, what I was going to talk about was like a couple of months ago. It's like I didn't know my mom was going to pass away. I knew it was a bad situation and things were not getting better, and I was not surprised. I just was like, it's happening. Something is happening that's going to change the situation. But I didn't know how it was going to end or how it was going to go or how things were going to play out. And I just found out yesterday that one of the life insurance policies has been approved to pay out what it was going to ever pay out. It takes a while to for the paperwork to go through and stuff. And my portion of it, and it's mostly already spent. It wasn't a very large policy, but it just goes to cover funeral expenses. So it's like, So that's good that the funeral expenses are covered, and and then the house back where I grew up is, last I heard, closing date was in, I think it was June 1st. So that's coming up soon. And I'm glad I made the trip back in the first week of April to see the house show. I didn't know it at the time, but it definitely, I had a strong suspicion, a hopeful strong suspicion, because it was good that it sold as quickly as it did, and that we didn't have to go through the difficulties of keeping a house going, and that wasn't being lived in. And I made the trip and collected the belongings that I wanted to retrieve, and got them transported back here. Just whatever I wanted to fit into my car. And I made the trip when I had the chance, because that window of time was closing. And already the house is, already being sold to a property development investment corporation or something. I'm not sure. It's not like a family or anything bought it. But we didn't have to go through the task of getting rid of a lot of the personal belongings and stuff. It's just, I don't know. It's just so complicated. But it's mostly already taken care of. And so it's like, I'm glad for that. I took care of what I needed to take care of. I did my part. And maybe I could have done more or done it better, but it turns out that what ended up happening happened exactly the way that it did, and it is done, and I no longer have to worry over it. What happens when Mom dies? Oh, that's what happens when Mom dies. And because that was something that I thought about, because her situation was not good for a long time, and it was getting just bad, really bad. So, life. But life isn't all bad, It's not moving from one bad situation to another, and then just living in between the crisis and disasters, and there are good things too. So anyway, in the meantime, right now is the I think there are people out there that spend their entire lives waiting for things, and then things just never actually materialize, and then time just passes by. That's kind of one of the reasons why I try to take the initiative when I feel I can, and challenge my own convention of what I believe is possible and what I think I can do. And I try to innovate different solutions to my own problems of self, so I don't become too stagnant and find myself in a normal situation that I can't, see past. Like the forest through the trees sort of thing. So, anyway, I should go.